Hello, today I will tell you about a really unique device. Dethonray creators call it Pegasus SG1 wireless hi-fi player. In fact, it's a Bluetooth receiver, but what it makes it special, it doesn't have some traditional features like USB digital tone converter mode, some fancy LED screens or something like that, but instead it focused on one thing, delivering maximum sound quality. To achieve it, it uses ESS9038Q2M chip, proprietary amplifier and sophisticated power supply schema that delivers power for analog and digital parts separately, and this allows this device to achieve really great results. It supports almost all codecs, starting with SBC, AAC, including all types of aptX and also including LDAC. And actually, kind of spoiler, it's for the first time when I can believe that LDAC is almost delivers like they call high resolution signal or something like that, but actually lossy compression of LDAC is almost not noticeable here, because especially when used some transport with properly tuned LDAC encoder. So what the drawbacks here besides the narrow focus? It's the price. It's $400, which is higher than traditional Bluetooth receivers, and even higher than some full feature players that can do a lot of other things, but it's the price to get the best possible wireless sound quality. So let's have a closer look. Package is simple, minimalistic black box with silver embossing and some end company's motto printed on top. Inside you're getting receiver itself. As you can see, it's bigger than traditional devices of this kind. And underneath, just regular USB Type-C cable, warranty card and some quick start guide. On the positive side, design really stands out. As far as I know, there are a few different color versions, and I've got this interesting green one. Probably I'd call it color of green tea. I'm not sure is it correct, but it's like really pleasant tint of green and some gold accents. When you peel off this protective paper, you can admire this front panel. It's not glossy, it's matte, and it looks superb. I'm not sure will it gather a lot of fingerprints, but it doesn't look like fingerprint magnet. So slight fingerprints are noticeable, but they are easy to wipe. Also, you can see that logo is almost glowing. So on the bottom you get USB Type-C, it used just for charging, and LED indicator that shows you the battery status. If I remember also right, it's blue when it's above 80%, green when it's from 80 to 30, and red when it's below 30. Here are the buttons to play back control. They have great ergonomics, really nice click, and also high-low gain toggle, also nice. On top, two outputs, single-ended and balanced. Single-ended delivers 2.9 volts RMS for 32 ohms load, and balanced delivers 2.8 volts RMS. But it really gives you a better channel separation, and it's audible here because it gives you a bigger stage. And for single-ended output it will be about 7 to 7.5 hours of listening. For the balance it will be 5 to 5.5. And also here is volume knob. It has perfect ergonomics, this circular to triangular shape. Actually interesting even from the geometry standpoint. You rotate it slightly, slight click, and the indicator starts blinking blue, meaning that it's ready to be paired. So It's not lightweight, but it feels really solidly built and looks, in my opinion, really astonishing. And actually, it's just pleasant looking as a gadget, so it's a pleasure to hold it in hands. And of course about the sound, by the way, I forgot to mention that it holds connections really well, unless you really cover the front panel with antenna. But if you won't do that, actually if you decide to put it in the pocket, it's better to put it this side out. But it holds connection up to 10 to 15 meters with really rare stuttering or something like that. And speaking about the sound quality, I'm not sure will I surprise you if I'll say that it's really good. So it's good even by the scale of regular digital audio players, but for Bluetooth receiver, of course, it's almost unbeatable. And I'm using it with LDAC. For examples, I will use it with my FIO M11 Plus, and I must admit that also with AAC I've got really good results with iPhone, for example. I didn't test other Android smartphones, but from my previous experience, some of them have really mediocre implementation of LDAC codecs, or it's just some settings, so sound can vary from device to device. Anyway, also I need to mention that there are two firmwares available for this receiver with different sound, but I can't test them because firmware tool is available only for Windows, and I'm a long time Mac user. I don't have any Windows box around me for quite a long time. I've got Android on TV box, like Android on the players, and the rest is MacBooks and iPhones. Anyway, so what we've got here, I'm not sure, but it sounds like here implemented some digital signal processing, because this device is trying to restore the signal that is lost because of compression, because you'll get almost maximum depth of bass, really good control, and nice balance. Of course, it's not trying to be super fast and super dry, but at the same time it's musical with good weight and impact, but at the same time it's bit highlighting impact, but not because of focusing on the micro contrast, just putting additional energy to low frequencies, delivering you more punch and more fun. At the same time, it doesn't boost weight on the low frequencies, but when it's present, it represents it perfectly. So really universal in terms of genres and styles, and I really like this bit of forwardness. It's typical for Dethonray device. It was typical for the players, and I've got the same slight coloration in this receiver, and that's what I really like here. And first example for the low frequencies, I selected just 3 examples, but all of them are really great, at least to my opinion. So example for low frequencies, it's Musica Nuda, I Will Survive live version, one of their first albums, and you know, it's a really great performance. It's so minimalistic, just bass and vocal and almost zero studio processing, just recorded live in one take with a lot of improvisations, with a lot of emotions put into the performance. It's really great experience. I like Musica Nuda, and I like, for example, Banda Larga with a lot of accompanying instruments. But at the same time, this minimalistic thing is one of the pinnacles for me, and I Will Survive just a good example of that signature duel of vocal and bass. Both of them are represented in a really superb way, and no other Bluetooth receiver is much here. And mid frequencies are a bit forward, especially vocals. It's not super noticeable, but it pushes emotions a bit forward, highlight dynamics, and moves vocal a bit forward. It actually helps to build a bit deeper stage. It's not like super big and super deep, but for the Bluetooth device it's definitely the biggest one I've heard, with nice layer separation and with good instrument separation, because that 3D positioning is really strong part of this device. It doesn't build the biggest stage, but it builds it really natural and really accurate. And moving vocals forward, separating it from other instruments, makes things even better. Of course, you'll get maximum level of detalization possible for Bluetooth codecs, and actually with LDAC it's a really good level of detalization, and despite of lossy nature you won't lose like much details here. And it's not super nitpicking typically for the Bluetooth devices, but in general sounds really lively, really energetic, but not overdoing that. It adds a bit of fun to performance, but not too much, still sounding refined and balanced. And example I'd like to use here, it's Joe Cocker, Have a Little Faith in Me. His greatest hits is not superb in terms of record, but still recorded pretty nicely, and his vocal is of course main staple. Accompanying instruments are great, but of course Joe Cocker is all about the vocal, emotional, multi-layered, with his own timbre, and all the nuances are delivered nicely with this I don't know, wireless hi-fi player, Bluetooth receiver, wireless digital tonal converter, call it what you like, but sound quality delivers really well. And treble actually another surprising thing, because it has noticeably better extension than other devices I've heard. Not sure it's just some smart trick made with amplification, or it's some digital signal processing helping to reconstruct a little bit, but extension here is not the maximum one, but more than typical for the Bluetooth devices. And actually with LDAC almost zero compression artifacts. Of course layering is pretty basic, but it's still present, which is really surprised me. And of course it balanced well, it doesn't try to make them super forward, but what's present in record, it plays with good sense of clarity and airness. And in general it sounds really enjoyable and balanced. And example here I've selected Pink Floyd Cluster 1. It's like prologue to the to what goes next. So this song is just holding your attention. It's full of different high frequency airy effects, and that duel of guitar and actually not duel, probably duel but duo of guitar and keyboards in the second half sounds like stellar, dipping you into the proper mood, and all that goes high to the treble area. Of course it doesn't sound 100% perfect with this track, but actually to get 100% you know, actually to get 100% for Pink Floyd you need some speaker setup, honestly. Many headphones and players and digital tonal converters can do it well, but just good set of speakers doing it great. I got Shenling Jet pair, and it's not like super best speakers of course, but they are pretty nice. But difference with best headphones and that pair of mid-segment speakers is noticeable, especially when we're speaking about the Pink Floyd and that their 3D effects. Anyway, back here to this device, it's still the best for the Bluetooth, and Pink Floyd sounds really enjoyable. And in terms of pairings, it won't drive some super power hungry models, but it will deal good with reasonable full-size headphones with dynamic drivers without excessive impedance. With sensitive planars it also will be really good. I tried with Meze Lyric, not 100% much of course for the Lyric, but still pretty good results. And it's nice with in-ear monitors. On low gain hiss is almost unnoticeable, so it's also a pretty good result. And to summarize everything, it's definitely not a device for everyone, and even not like for the half of audiophiles, because it's expensive and it's limited in the functionality, but sounds it deliver really make it worth. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.